Hello and welcome to another tip on Maximo. I'm your host, Chris Winston from Project here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Today's tip is in the category of ad hoc reporting, an area that IBM continues to enhance and extend. Previously, we have covered query-based reporting, or QBR, as introduced in Maximo 7.114. As of Maximo 7.5, portions of the IBM Cognos family of products have become available. Remember, should you have any other questions or topics to request, please send an email to media@projecttech.com. There are multiple reporting options with Maximo 7.5. The Cognos components that are available with Maximo include Cognos Connection, Framework Manager, Query Studio, and Report Studio only. Check with your system administrator to gain access and to confirm licensing requirements, as the Cognos that comes with Maximo is typically restricted to use on your Maximo database only. The integration between the two, Maximo and Cognos, utilizes the report object structure, as does QBR. Additional capabilities over QBR currently include calculated fields, aggregation on groups, among others, which we will review here. In the interest of time, we'll assume Cognos has been set up and made available, and we will focus exclusively on Query Studio. Please note that Query Studio can build fine reports, but for complex dashboards and dynamic field selection reports, among other capabilities, you'll want to leverage Report Studio. For our demonstration, we will create an inventory listing including costs and valuation. It is good to document what you're going to do ahead of time, including identifying the fields to be output, identifying any filtering prompts or runtime parameters, any grouping with or without aggregation. In this case, we will be using average cost, but you can use the costing method of your database. We will also review a few output formats, including PDF, Excel, and comma separate values, or CSV, noting that Excel and CSV are significantly different. Let's go ahead and get into Maximo. From an application, we'll go ahead inventory. From the select action, when Cognos becomes available, you see it available on your select action menu. From here, we'll launch into the Cognos product, and we'll start off in our public folder area. Specifically, we'll go ahead and look in our demo here in the publish folder. If you are going to register your report as well, then you'll at registration time be requested for a location and a package name. This would be the location, and the package name would be here within the location, typically referencing the report object structure. So we're going to go ahead into inventory details. This of course would be where our list of reports would be. We need to go ahead and build a report, and then we'll start to see them. So we're going to launch Query Studio. And from here, we've gone and gotten into our inventory details. On the left side, you'll see our menu of things that are available. Across the top, you'll see toolbar buttons. And then you'll see the main work area makes up most of the workspace. And we'll get the fields onto the report in a few different ways just to show you some of the options that are present, but you can choose whichever way works best for you. So we'll take a look at our business logic view to then find and expose our objects. And from here, we'll go ahead and start with our inventory object. And there we'll grab a few fields. Let's see, let's get our site and location. Pressing Control, holding down location, and actually item number. And we'll take those and drag them on to the report. In addition, we need our item description from the item object, and we will click on description, and down here at the bottom we've got a little button that says insert. I'll click that, add it on, and let's see, let's get back to inventory and grab our default bin. We will simply double click. In inventory balances, we need our actual bin as well as our current balance. Again, press and hold Control to get those fields on. We'll drag them over. And let's see, we also need a cost. So inventory cost object, and we'll grab our average cost. So we've got the bulk of our attributes onto the report. We do, however, need to get our calculated field of current balance multiplied by average cost. So with that in mind, let's go ahead into edit data. That's from the insert data menu. And here we'll want to use the calculate option. But before we click on it, we will go ahead and click on current balance in the report. Press and hold Control, click on the average cost, and then click calculate. Calculate will assume we want to add. We will change that to multiplication, and we'll give it a different name instead of default. We'll hit insert to insert that additional field, and let's go ahead and go to the bottom. Looks like our report's working fine. This gives a summary at the end as well, and let's give it a title. So from here we will go ahead and call it OK, and we'll see that change takes place. And from here we should go ahead and save it. So we'll say inventory. Noting also, as we began in publish and inventory details, that is the default folder that we will be able to save it to. You can of course save it to a different folder or move it at a later time. We'll go ahead and take the default. We'll hit OK, and let's actually just go back, and here's our report. So we can run it, and from here let's take a look at what the output looks like in PDF format. So it takes a little bit because it's crunching the numbers for perhaps a couple hundred pages. Okay, a little more than a couple hundred pages. And as you can see, it's the layout in, but there's a few cosmetic things that need to be taken care of and a couple that are a little bit misleading. The summary of current balance and average cost is not really correct. Can be misleading or confusing, so we'll go ahead and fix that. So we'll return to our list. We will then open the Query Studio where we can go ahead and make our changes. And actually there are several changes we'll want to make here. First, let's get our filtering set up. So we'll start with site ID, and we'll want to prompt each time so someone can pick the site that they want. We'll go with location, and this time I'm going to hit the toolbar button. It does the same thing, just a different location. We want to prompt again each time, and in this case, since we've got our second filter, we get an option for the rules around it. In this case, we're going to use AND because we want it to be specific to site ID and storeroom. We will hit OK, and let's see a few other things here. Let's go ahead and set some grouping rules for that. We'll need to move into change layout. We'll click on site ID and we'll choose to group it. And let's go ahead and take location as well. We will group there also. And we may have some items appearing in multiple bins in the same storeroom, so we'll go ahead and group on item number. Now we have a few other things to resolve. As I mentioned before, we've got this totaling that's taking place, sort of aggregation on the current balance. To avoid that, I'm going to click specifically on that cell, on any one of the cells really, and go ahead and look at the summarize option. And from here, the default is total. We're just going to switch that to none and take those away. We're going to do the same thing with average cost. Take that to none. And let's take care of a few other cosmetic items here. Site ID is fine. Location, I think we should call it storeroom. Item number, okay. Description, bins, yes. We have 2. We should clarify default bin. Got to hit OK for that to be accepted. And then we'll take a look here. And I'm double clicking to get this to activate. And this will be actual bin. Current balance, sometimes known as quantity on hand, so let's do that. Average cost, extended cost, those will be okay. And save it, of course. And let's jump to the bottom, see how things look. That's a lot better. So we've taken a look at this in PDF format. Let's just see. Well, let's go ahead and make sure. We'll save it. Let's get back to the menu and let's run through our prompts again, because we also have our filtering capability now in place. So we'll go ahead and run with options. Our prompt for values is here. We'll go ahead and hit run, and then we'll see our prompts now. And we have, of course, site ID, kept the old name, storeroom, because we revised the name, a little bit more clear, storeroom as opposed to just location, which is what it is in the database. And we'll select Bedford, and we'll just grab all the storerooms, keeping in mind only the storerooms in Bedford will actually show up on the report. So we'll hit finish, and we'll see that it comes through. It's probably a bit shorter this time since we didn't grab every site, and lower dollar amount. Alright, so things seem to be working a bit better, but let's go ahead and add some sorting in as well. So difference being green arrow to run with options, and the pencil to open in Query Studio, where I'm going to go ahead and do my edits. So let's go ahead in here, and we just ran sort of sample data for the report, and we're going to go ahead and let's sort. So site ID and storeroom and item number. And in fact, for site ID, let's go ahead, let's see, we've got our prompts here. Yep, that's fine. We want to go ahead and change the order. Let's just make site ID descending, and let's go ahead and change site ID to site ID. And from here we want to save it. Let's get back to the list, and we'll go ahead and rerun it. And hit run, we'll get our prompt. Oh, let's just go ahead and select everything. See if we can break it. Didn't work. Earlier I mentioned we would go ahead and put our filtering prompts up on the report, so you'll see those here. That way you'll have that information available to you. Of course, if you don't want it, you'll just clear those checkboxes. And we'll jump to the bottom. And nice sum. And from here, let's take a look at a couple different output options. We looked at PDF. Let's go ahead and look at Excel, a more recent format. And it is now downloading to Excel. And let's see if it opens in which window. There it goes. So we get our open option. Excel opens up. And there it is. So our output's in Excel, but we do have a problem. If you're looking for the formatting on the report, you're fine. But if you want to manipulate the data in spreadsheet format, you've really got headers that get in the way. There's no really good way around this in the Excel format. You're probably just looking for a different format as opposed to having to manipulate this, of course, which is almost 300 pages that you have to do. You'd really prefer to have it in a traditional data list where row 1 is header information, row 2 and beyond, for however long it is data. And for that, you'll want to choose comma separated values. And in that case, the headers that are present will be suppressed, and it will return to more traditional data list format. Now let's bring that guy back. And in fact, let's take a look at the bottom. Around 8,600 rows, and let's see if our totaling works. We want to go with row 2 because row 1 is header. And 268, 567, 268, 567, and 22 cents. So it does work. So keeping in mind for your output formats, most common that you'll probably use are just PDF and CSV. Excel just puts the PDF in Excel, but I'm not sure if that's going to be all that useful for you. But if you want to manipulate the data, do your own sorting or aggregation, graphing, whatever you like, for that you'll want to use the comma separated values. All right, and let's get back to our report. We don't need that. Go back to the menu. So this will become the report that you'd have available for running at runtime. And let's take a look back at our PowerPoint. Few things of use. A few links here that can give you some additional information. First, the report object structure primer. It's out in the developers area on IBM developers website, and you'll see some additional information around just in general using report object structures and where they're used. Then you'll also have a video example. It's a Maximo QBR. The fourth one shows you an example of making changes to a report object structure. And then last thing here is actually one of the earlier slides talks about Maximo 7.5 report options that are currently available. Keep in mind 7.x or 7.6 will soon be up and running and available, probably early 2015. And there you'll get additional access to reporting options, including business intelligence packs. And for those who remember Cognos Analyzer back in Maximo 4, it'll look quite familiar. You also get some enhancements to query-based reporting, which will include some things we've shown here for calculations. And with that in mind, thank you very much for attending this quick look at another component of Maximo's ad hoc reporting, in this case via Cognos. Please keep in mind this is really just to prompt you, get you an idea of what's there and available. There's no substitution for digging into it on your own, taking a class, setting up your access. Please do that if it's something you're interested in. And as always, should you have any other requests, questions, please send an email to media@progitech.com. Thank you very much, and have a good day.